And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. We do have some breaking news we want to report to you out of the world of entertainment. We're getting this in from TMZ. Alex Michelson there at Fox 11 in Los Angeles has it in this tweet here that Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested after being indicted by a grand jury in New York. That's according to the New York Times, also according to TMZ as well here. It's not immediately clear what charges he is facing. So this is quite significant here. I want to just show you some file footage of Diddy over the years. Now, TMZ has an update saying that a law enforcement source is telling them the arrest was scheduled for Tuesday, but something happened that caused the feds to move in a day earlier. So Diddy, if you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him. Also, TMZ says we have unconfirmed reports the feds are searching his hotel room. They were told that Diddy was taken to the FBI field office in Manhattan. So you will remember that earlier this year, you remember these scenes over his homes in both Miami and there, as well in Beverly Hills, where those search warrants were issued and those searches of his properties were given, and they were executed there at his homes as part of these ongoing criminal investigations into alleged sex trafficking. Now, at the time, it was very unclear what the search warrants referred to there at the time. But according to TMZ, the arrest tonight is in connection with those searches. And you remember at the time that we were over this story for a very long time that day earlier this year. I'm trying to get an exact date from my producer to jog my memory. March the 25th. So March 25th, the same day, 2 of Diddy's residences were searched by federal law enforcement there in Beverly Hills and his home in Miami in connection to what we knew at the time was an alleged federal sex trafficking investigation. And you remember these scenes, his mansion there in the Holmby Hills and his mansion there in Miami. So this is breaking right now. We are working to get more details. We are working to get more people on the line to help us make sense of what exactly happened today. But all we know right now is that Diddy has been arrested in New York. The New York Times and TMZ both have it. I have it up here at the New York Times. They say this, I'm reading from their piece, that Sean Combs, the music mogul whose career has been upended by sexual assault lawsuits in a federal investigation, was arrested in Manhattan on Monday evening after a grand jury indicted him. Now, this is important. At the time, we brought on legal affairs journalist Megan Cuniff, who is based in Los Angeles, and she noted at the time, back in March, that it looked like these warrants were approved by judges in New York, which led Megan Cuniff to believe at the time that maybe the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York was the lead on these probes and these investigations into federal sex trafficking allegations here. Now, that was Megan Cuniff's supposition at the time. I think it has borne out now because Diddy was arrested by federal authorities in Manhattan. And from what I was told, from what I remember at the time, a judge in New York signed off on the search warrants for the searches of his properties in Los Angeles and in Miami. Now, if we get any more clarification on that, or if Megan Cuniff, who we might bring on, can correct me if I'm wrong here. But at the time, Megan Cuniff, we had asked her, would Diddy be held liable, or would any legal action be taken against him personally in the immediate wake and aftermath of those raids on his mansions in California and Florida? Megan Cuniff at the time told us she didn't believe it would happen immediately, that the feds would present their case most likely to a grand jury, which we now know has been done there in Manhattan. So according to the New York Times, the indictment is sealed. The charges were not announced, so we don't know the charges. But they have a source that says the person familiar with the prosecution they believe Combs is being charged with racketeering and sex trafficking here. So 7:30 here on the West Coast, 10:30 there on the East Coast. This is a breaking news story right now regarding the music mogul, the hip-hop legend, Sean Diddy Combs, being arrested by federal authorities today in Lower Manhattan.
You won't believe this, but Paka Sean CMS was just sentenced to life in prison. His reaction when the verdict was read was unbelievable. The courtroom went completely silent. You could hear a pin drop. His mouth dropped open, and his eyes went wide. It looked like he might fall out of his seat. The prosecutors were smiling, while Diddy's defense team looked shocked. Andy just sat there, frozen, before burying his head in his hands. You could feel how heavy that life sentence was on him. The room was so tense it was hard to breathe. Nobody expected this, especially not Diddy. People thought he was untouchable, but they were wrong. Now he's going away for life, and the hip-hop world will never be the same.
You can't give it, I told you so, and it took you 27 years, mate. It's still sorry it took this long, but at least we got the guy. You don't get to gloat now. This man's doing a victory lap. Who's laughing now, huh? Still the criminal. He spent the majority of his life as a free man. He was just about to collect his old age pension and bus pass, and now you're locking him up. His life's basically over anyway.
Our goal at LBMPD has always been to hold those accountable and responsible for Tupac's violent murder accountable. Just like we do for every homicide victim in our city.
He's just really using this as an opportunity to do a bit of good PR. So let's go back to the cop now who found Tupac at the scene of the crime and actually held Tupac as he took some of his last conscious breaths. Check this out. This man doesn't live far from Keefe D. They lived like a couple of streets away from each other. And this is the guy who was investigating the case. They always say it's the one closest to you.
Most everybody who is involved in this whole incident is dead at this point. So I think, you run your mouth, you talk yourself into a search warrant. Maybe you've even talked yourself into a murder charge. We don't know that yet.
We do now because he has been charged with murder and they have found bullets in the house. Bullets that potentially could link him to the murder. It's unlikely after 27 years that they'd be the same bullets, but apparently they potentially are from a similar gun and they're going to obviously run those checks. The reason this gets even more interesting now is because of who Keefe D is linked to. There was always speculation that P. Diddy was the one who was ordering the hit on Tupac because they'd had long-standing beef. Tupac was talking mad shit about him. And also, P. Diddy publicly had put a warrant out for a death row chain that they all used to wear. He put money out saying, if you bring me one of those, I'm going to give you whatever it was. And you don't get chains like that peacefully, yeah? So he'd already made threats in that way. And the problem for P. Diddy is Keefe D has publicly spoken about looking after P. Diddy.
The look on Diddy's face when the judge announced life in prison was unbelievable. It seemed like he was stunned, with his eyes wide open and his face going pale. Diddy, who is usually calm and collected, was clearly shaken. The courtroom was so silent, you could almost hear his heart beating. He gripped the edge of the table so tightly his knuckles turned white, like he was holding on for dear life. When the reality sank in, he slumped back in his chair, with his head in his hands and his shoulders shaking as if the weight of the world had fallen on him. Everyone knows Diddy doesn't show weakness, but even the toughest person would struggle with a sentence like that. Some people said they heard him whisper, "This can't be happening. This can't be real." His voice full of emotion, so different from the confident Diddy everyone knows.
You could indict a ham sandwich, but the Southern District of New York has a 98.2 conviction rate. All right, for those who don't know, if you got 100 people, only 1.28 or something like that, 1.8. Only 1.8 has won against them. So now, what they doing, they already got the witnesses, they already got the people, because let me just say something. with the sex trafficking thing, it only takes one witness to convince the jury. One witness. And we know who that witness is going to be. Cassie. She filed a civil suit against him. So it only takes one, in the sex trafficking charge, it only takes one witness. Now we got other people like Jonathan Odie, who was one of the sex workers, that he gave a testimony, or well, he gave some information to some agents that he was working, doing sexual acts with Cassie, cross states, going back and forth, this, that, and the third. So it only takes one witness. So now, the reason they haven't went after him because there's more to get into. It's more to get into. It's not only the sex trafficking, it's the guns, the alleged drugs. And I'm saying alleged because they haven't came out with any formal charges yet. But when they come out with some charges, bruh, and you hit it, the Southern District of New York do not play. And people don't play with them. So I don't understand why this stuff ever even got to this point, but it is what it is. It is what it is, bro. The reason they haven't came down and got him yet, they going through his taxes. You hear what he said? They had all the people that he did business with. That they're gonna go through everything that he did with a fine-tooth comb. And when they set that and they get what they call discovery to his lawyers, he either say, I'm gonna take the time, because if he go to court with it, 9 times out of 10, he gonna spend the rest of his life behind bar. So the reason they haven't did it at this point, it's a lot of paperwork, bro. They got a lot of people working different angles. They got the drug angle. They got the tax angle. They got the, what else? They say the drugs, the tax, and then they got the guns that were found. They got to do a trace on the guns that they were found in the house. And then if you got 250 cameras, there's a lot of footage that them agents got to go through. So they got a lot of work to do, bro. They got a lot of work. What they took, how many years to indict Keefe D? They took a lot of years to indict Keefe D. And now he's sitting in jail. So they got a lot of work to do, bro. And it ain't gonna happen overnight. So I would think that probably in the next two months or so, you might be looking at something, bro.
As the guards came to take him away, Diddy looked up with tears in his eyes. He glanced around the courtroom, maybe hoping to see a friendly face or get some support, but all he saw were shocked and pitying looks. At that moment, the reality of his situation hit him hard. The man who once had everything was now facing a life in prison. As they let him out, his head was down, and his usual confident swagger was gone. He looked completely defeated, a shadow of his former self. It was a moment none of us expected. Diddy, powerless in front of the law. But don't count him out just yet. You can bet his legal team is already working on an appeal. Now everyone's asking, can Diddy recover from this, or is his empire about to fall apart?
And you said that Diddy, he got over 250 cameras?
He had over 200, they found over 250 cameras in his house, man.
Damn.
Alleged. That's what they were saying.
So you do believe that Diddy is going to prison?
Oh, he going to jail, bro. And yo, and I don't wish jail on nobody, on the for real. I don't wish jail on nobody. You understand? But they already got their star witness. And you only, for one charge for the sex trafficking, you only need one witness. One witness. That's crazy. I don't believe R. Kelly. You see what they did to R. Kelly? He went to jail for sex trafficking. He was dating those girls. Those girls was living at his house. Those girls was going back and forth with him willfully. How the hell did he get sex trafficked? and Diddy don't. Based on Cassie paperwork.
Do you think Diddy would take some people down with him if he get arrested?
Oh, my man. Come on. His daddy was a rat. Hold on, let me just, I know this ain't got nothing to do with, but I'm gonna tell this story. It was this gangster, right? He said, when you go there, kill a father and kill his son. And the guy said, his son is only a baby, 4 years old. He said, his father was a rat and he gonna grow up to be a rat too. It ain't no way that he gonna go down, you understand, and not take nobody with him. His father was murdered because he ratted out his team that he was working for. So you think he not gonna rat? Like father, like son, brother. That's what I believe.
Wow, man, I didn't know that. So Diddy dad was a rat?
My man, I had a conversation with New York Freddie. Omar took me to a meet because New York Freddie wanted to talk to me. He said, yo, I've been trying to get in touch with Russell Simmons and I've been trying to get in touch with Puff because I wanted to tell him the true story about his father. You understand? I said, yeah. And now this is New York Freddie, one of the biggest gangsters in Harlem. Puff's father used to work for his team. He was brought in by one of his best friends. So he's telling me the story how Russell Simmons used to work for him. You understand? He said, Russell Simmons used to take my laundry, to the cleaners and everything. He said, I had a glass table with $1 million in my office. I had $1 million in a glass table. You know what I'm saying? Of $100 bills in a glass table. I said, yeah. He's telling me his whole stuff. He said, Russell Simmons used to work for me because I was starting a record label back then. I said, okay. And if you look up New York Freddie Myers, you can see when he was picked up with a whole lot of, he had stacks of money in his house in the basement in Mount Vernon. So he said to me, he said, yo, we had cops on the payroll. He gave a cop, one of the cops brought information. He had the paperwork and he had Puff father take confession. He gave him $10,000 extra for it, right? Puff father told on their operation. New York Freddie told the guy who brought Puff father into his crew, you gotta handle. I wanted him. So then he said, I wanted handled. So now the dude handled the situation. Puff father was driving the cab. He met him on Central Park West and did what he did. And so I said to New York Freddie, I said, yeah. He said, and the guy who killed him was carrying the casket, crying the hardest at the funeral. I was like, oh. Now, check this out. I was going to tell this story on my members only page on my YouTube channel, The Gene Deal Show. Only my members, hey, but I'm going to give it to you. It's this lady that told me she was dating Puff father at the time. Right? She was dating Puff father at the time. She said she was waiting on him because they were supposed to be going out to Smalls Paul. It was either Small Paul, she said, or it was this place up there on McCoon's Bridge. I got it because she texted this whole thing to me, bro. It's crazy how she texted me this whole story. She said that she never knew why Puff father was killed. He said the word got through Harlem that he was murdered. You understand? And she went up to the bar the next day and the same dudes was on his team that he worked with him, sold drugs with him. New York Freddie and their whole crew. He said they was in the bar laughing and talking like nothing had ever happened. She said, thank you, Gene, for telling me that story about New York Freddie and Diddy father, because now I know what happened to him. So Melvin Combs was a rat. And these guys, this came from a gangster himself you understand, who said he had police on the payroll.
Diddy's world is about to change drastically now that he's facing life in prison. Everyone's wondering, what's next for the hip-hop mogul? The future looks tough. First off, Diddy's top-notch legal team is already working on an appeal. They'll be searching for any possible way to overturn the sentence. But let's face it, getting a life sentence overturned is extremely difficult, even with his resources. In the meantime, Diddy will have to swap his designer clothes for a prison jumpsuit and give up his lavish lifestyle for a small cell shared with a roommate who likely doesn't care about his music. The days of private jets and VIP parties are over. Now it's all about prison food and phone calls. It's not just Diddy's personal life that will be affected. His entire empire, built on music, fashion, and entertainment, will face major challenges. With him in prison, who will keep everything running, his team will need to step up to prevent things from falling apart. And then there's the music. Diddy has been a major force in rap for years, but a life sentence could end his career. Can he still record from prison? Will his label stay with him or cut ties? These are the big questions everyone will be discussing.
You know what I know, 50? I know 50. And I know you. You understand? If I gotta put my house up, if I gotta put my car, my jewelry, I'm putting my shit up on 50. I'm not gonna put it on you. I'm just telling you what I know. 50 hit that nigga so hard, man. He won't wake up to the middle of next week. He gets on here and he wanna defend Diddy, defend him. You might be on some of them tapes. 9 times out of 10, you good at making tapes. You know the tapes that you made before in the past that made the internet. I'm not gonna speak on that, Mighty, not at all. You understand? Because he's got a young lady that's doing her thing in it and she don't need to be spoken on. But, you know, everybody who knows what I'm talking about, they know the tapes that made the internet with Stevie J before. You know what I mean? So, for him to come to Puff defense, you don't have nothing. He gotta come to his defense. Heard he lost his house, heard he lost this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. He's standing with a grown man at another man's house. So, what else he gonna do? Puff said, y'all come to my defense? He's the only one came to his defense.
In the tape that she was referring to, and you don't have to go into detail about it, I think most people would know what she was talking about, but she was referring to the sex tape between Stevie J and Eve, right? And I don't know if this is true, you can tell me, but I heard that he leaked it, right?
Allegedly, yeah, he's the one who leaked. Want to be into something. You know what I'm saying? That's how those cats do, bro. They want to be, they sit back, and because this is the new form of entertainment and regular dudes are getting more views than they are, they get mad and they get upset. You understand what I'm saying? They get mad and they get upset because this is the new form of entertainment and a lot of people are blowing them out the water now. And they want to say crazy stuff when in fact, they wouldn't breathe hard if you was in the room with them.
Yeah, that's real talk. And I was checking out one of your lives and you made a comment saying that, you know, Diddy, his ship is sinking fast because the only person that's coming out to defend him is Stevie J.
Well, Diddy did a post and he said, speak now or forever hold your peace. And he sent the message to everybody that he did business with or everybody that was around him. Y'all talk, y'all speak on me. Y'all let everybody know what y'all know about me or whatever, this, that, and the third. And if they talking negative, straighten them out based on our relationship. So he put that message out there. So now people are saying, nah, bro. Like Ray J. Ray J say, yo, people want to know what it is. Because if the federal government is asking questions about you, having some pedophilia or having sex with little boys underage, why would I want to be connected to that? Why are they even asking that type of question about you? So now he's telling people, yo, speak on me, speak on me. Now people like, no, we don't even know what the charge is. We don't know what they got on you. So the safe thing for me to do is to stay away from you until we know. I'm not gonna mess, they saying I'm not gonna mess up my brand. I'm not gonna mess up me getting money, because what the internet is gonna do is that anybody that speaks up for them, they're gonna automatically think they had something to do with it.
But you know Diddy is a fighter. He's dealt with critics before and come out strong. This might just be another obstacle for him to overcome, or it could be the end of a hip-hop legend. As he comes to terms with his situation, Diddy is probably thinking about his family, his legacy, and his future. Will he ever get out of prison? Will his kids grow up without him? These are the hard questions he's facing right now. The streets are buzzing, and social media is blowing up with reactions from fans, critics, and everyone else. Diddy's celebrity friends are probably reaching out, either to offer support or to get the latest news. Meanwhile, paparazzi are hanging out at the courthouse, waiting to catch any new details.
Oh my God. Benjamin Braffman, he left. Either it's because his client didn't take his information, because I don't see how they even let this get to court with Cassie. You understand? She only wanted $10 million. You knew what she was putting into that lawsuit. And then you tried to, one day after she filed it, pay her off and stop it. He didn't take his Benjamin Braffman legal advice. And he saw that, yo, this shit is about to be a forest. I ain't gonna be a part of this, and I'm gonna leave. Because nobody's talking about his legal team, you understand, about what they did or didn't do. But right now, he had 18 companies, all of them parted away from him. The IRS is looking at him. The federal government is looking at him. Now they trying to go into court and say because his company wasn't existed at that time of some of the alleged rapes, that what we're going to do is we want them to take the companies out of the lawsuit. But check this out, bro. You ever think of this? Why did Diddy put everything in his mom and his son's name? Did he know that he was doing some things behind the scene? Or did he know that some things was going on in his life that may bring it to this point where people be trying to sue him? But everything is in Justin's name and everything is his mama's name? Did he know that? Because when you're a grown man, you want to own some things. You understand? You want to own some things. You want to have companies in your name, companies in this, that, and the third. But he put it in his mom and his son's name? And his daughters now? I don't know, brother.
How you feel about the comments that Suge made about Diddy? He made a comment saying that, it's nothing to cheer about, seeing what, Diddy is going through right now. It's a bad day for hip hop.
Well, I think Suge was being admirable to, and he didn't say Puff was an enemy or anything like that, but I think he was being admirable because he knows Puff is a father, Puff is a businessman, and Puff is a black man. I think he was very admirable, and he was being somewhat forgiving. But like I told you, I heard Puff say, I don't give a F if Pop gotta die. I don't give a F if Big gotta die. And Suge Knight can go to jail. And I said this before. That could have been some self-fulfilling prophecy he had. I don't know. Or it could have been something that he heard from the handlers or the people above him. I don't know. But I do know it came out of his mouth. You understand what I'm saying? I do know it came out of my mouth. And for Suge to be that admirable, and speak kind of him, he's more forgiving than I could ever be. That forgiveness is, you go to your God, you go to Jesus for that. You understand? And I'm not saying Puff put him in jail or had anything to do with him going to jail or anything like that. But the atmosphere that both of them created at that time may have caused both of their demise today. So I don't have too much to say about it, but I think I said enough.
But what do you personally think Diddy meant by that when he made them comments about Big and Pac?
Well, I knew he was mad and upset because he just had ran from Pac and Suge and from Soul Train. So I know it was out of anger because he kept on saying, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. You understand? I'm tired of living my life like this. You understand what I'm saying? So I know it was out of frustration. It was out of anger. So I was at a shock because when he walked up the steps after he said it, my man looked at me and he said, yo, he said Big. He didn't say nothing about Pac. He didn't say nothing about Suge. He said, yo, that nigga said Big. And I was like, right, he did say Big.
Girl, the news about Diddy's life sentence is on fire and everyone is talking. It feels like time stopped when the news broke. Social media is going wild, with reactions coming in faster than fireworks on the 4th of July. Twitter is buzzing with hashtags like #FreeDiddy and #JusticeForDiddy. His fans are showing huge support, sharing old photos and quoting his best lyrics, saying things like, "Ain't no way Diddy's going out like this," and "The king will rise again." The loyalty is real, but the haters? They're partying like it's New Year's, saying stuff like karma finally caught up with him and money can't buy everything. The memes are everywhere. It's a full-on savage party out here.
Let me just say this to you. It's not one victim in the complaint. And I've been on Art of Dialogue. I got over 10 interviews on Art of Dialogue probably. I probably got over 10 interviews with you, Mike.
More than that, actually.
All right. But there's not one individual that ever came and said, this guy I seen on YouTube was the one who held the door. This guy I seen on YouTube is the one who helped Puff do anything. Like Suge Knight said, and thank you for that, Suge. Suge Knight said, this was not the Puffy we know back then. All this came when he started moving out to California, when he moved out to California and started dealing with certain people, getting record deals, 10 million here. Yo, he got a record deal for $10 million and flopped and came back and got another record deal and then turned in an album for $10 million and it flopped. Why? Why? That's the nature of what he was doing because he was willing to go through those doors that people like Christopher Williams wasn't going through. Everybody heard the story. Everybody just ain't willing to talk about it. And if it ain't, that's their choice. But for these people who sit up there and run their mouth and talk about what I should do or I should go to jail, they just making that stuff up for content because they don't have no stories. They didn't live the life I didn't live. They wasn't there. They wasn't around. People didn't come to them and ask them to do certain things. You understand what I'm saying? So they mad. They upset that the Art of Dialogue didn't made Fox. The Art of Dialogue didn't made TMZ. The Art of Dialogue didn't made what was that? What was that other news program? Nightline. All these different things. They upset. No, get your content up. So it don't matter. I'm good. Name when I ever said I saw him do something. I told you I went to the hospital. Yeah, I see Kim's face is blue. You understand? She in the hospital with her man. He about to, he bleeding, profusely. Profusely. He bleeding crazy from his wrist with a t-shirt wrapped around it because she took a corkscrew and say, yo, you hit me again. I wasn't there. I was told to go to the hospital to bodyguard him. You understand what I'm saying? I told people when him and Kim was in the room, he doing that play fight and shit like that, and she come out, I'm like, yo, you all right? She said, I'm good. And she'll stay out the room for a little while, then she'll go back in. But I'm never going to see him or nobody else. I ain't never been that type of dude. You're not going to abuse no kids around me. You're not going to abuse no women around me. And that's point blank. So they can say what they want to say, bro. You know what it is? It gives them content to talk about, to make up Well, if this happened, if that happened. If ands and buts with candies and nuts, Christmas will be every day. But it's not, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real talk. Great response, too, by the way. Tell me about the time that you took 2 females to Mike Tyson.
You want to know that story?
Celebrity reactions are flooding in like waves at the beach. Everyone who's anyone is speaking up. Jay-Z, T.I., and others are sharing their thoughts. Nicki Minaj tweeted, "Sending love and light to my brother Diddy during this tough time." 50 Cent posted an old picture of him and Diddy with the caption, "Stay strong, King. We got your back." Even Oprah expressed her support, saying, "My heart goes out to Sean and his family." But it's not just the big names showing support. Diddy's close friends are stepping up too. His ex, Cassie, posted a throwback photo with the message, "I know the real you, and this isn't the end of your story." His son, Christian, also known as King Combs, shared a heartfelt message, promising to support the family while Diddy is away. The Bad Boy family is coming together as well. Maze, Lil' Kim, and the whole crew are showing support, sharing memories, and vowing to keep the Bad Boy legacy alive. It's a true family effort right now.
Back in the day, I used to work for the Harlem Madam. The Harlem Madam was this young lady who would go to clubs, and girls who was looking to make extra money for being escorts, she would hire them to do work for them. You know what I mean? So this one particular time, I had actually, when KG from Naughty by Nature brother had came home from college, and y'all know what college I'm talking about, I took a few girls to his party. You understand? So the same woman that I worked for, she had to take, 2 girls had to go to Mike Tyson on 57th Street. Mike Tyson had a condominium down, I think it was 57th Street. And I took the 2 girls down there. This was a long time. This was in the 90s, early part, the mid 90s or something like that, when Mike Tyson was the man. So I wanted them to, you know, I had this Tyson shirt in my truck and I wanted them to sign it, but I was like, yo, that shit would be perfect.
With all the buzz, there's one person we haven't heard from yet, Diddy himself. He's been quiet since the sentencing, probably trying to come to terms with it all. But knowing Diddy, he's likely already planning his next move. You can't keep a bad boy down for long. The streets are abuzz, suggesting this might be just a temporary setback for the king of hip-hop. Diddy's a survivor and a hustler, and people believe he'll overcome this like he has in the past. No prison cell can break his spirit. Now, everyone's asking, what's next for the bad boy mogul? With a life sentence hanging over him, is this the end of an era? The streets are talking, but one thing's clear: don't count Diddy out just yet.
He said that's when Diddy stood up, because Diddy didn't want to talk to him at first. But when he said that, he said Diddy was responsive now.
I was checking out one of your lives, right? And you made a comment and you said that you rather be poor than be Diddy rich. Can you elaborate on that?
Bruh, I told this to this one guy the other day. I'd rather have a slow nickel than a fast dollar any day. My slow nickel put bread on my table. My slow nickel pays my mortgage. My slow nickel brings me home to my family. My slow nickel builds a community. We see what the fast dollar does. Being Diddy rich takes a guy that once name was Puffy, that after every tragedy he had in his life, he had to change his name. Puffy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, Brother Love, Love. Puffy, from the DC tragedy, went to when those kids was trampled over. I think 1 or 2 kids died at a function in DC that he gave. Puffy. City College.
Some people are already wondering how this verdict might affect the music industry. Other rappers might be extra careful, realizing that even big names can fall. Will the hip-hop world just keep going as usual? Only time will tell. One thing is sure: Diddy's empire will face tough times. But he has a strong team, so they might keep things running smoothly while he's gone. Who knows? This situation might even inspire some new, exciting music from the Bad Boy crew. In the end, Diddy's future depends on the legal system now, but his impact on hip-hop is something that can't be erased. Love him or hate him, you can't ignore the mark he's made on the music world.
If they bring Diddy into court, all on sex trafficking, all you need to land a conviction for sex trafficking is one witness. They have one witness that made complaints about him. Can she be broken down and a good lawyer? Maybe she can. Maybe she can. But Cassie is their eyewitness and they star witness, along with Jonathan Odie. All you need is one witness to prove sex trafficking.
Gene Deal, great interview, my guy.
Yo, it'll be better when that indictment come down. Yep. I'm gonna go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
The internet gonna be on fire when that shit happens, man.
No doubt. Yep. Just even the arrest for him to appear in court is gonna be a fight for them to read the charges. Because they gotta charge him, brother. They went in his house. They took all that shit out. They have to charge him. If not, that's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the federal government.
So, what do you think? Is this the end of Diddy's story, or just a plot twist? Will the king of hip-hop come back, or is his reign really over? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you want more details on the Diddy drama, check out our video with shocking stories about his adopted daughter. For more updates on the Bad Boy dynasty, stay tuned. This story isn't over YET. As everyone watches and waits, remember, whether you love him or hate him, Diddy has had a huge impact on the music world. And that's the real story.